Right then, lads and lasses, how we're doing, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. In today's daily news video is some news I would not have liked to see in a million years. It's been reported by Craig Hope as of this morning that Newcastle United tried to sell Anthony Gordon to Liverpool. Before we even speculate, is it real? How big is this news? Why on earth is Newcastle United selling Anthony Gordon? This is some pretty big news to be putting out there before Anthony Gordon plays a round of 16 game in the Euros tomorrow. It's not going to do him any good at all. But back onto that topic, Newcastle United are trying to sell our star winger, Anthony Gordon. Has someone lost their minds here or something? But look, before we even speculate on this, by the way, lads and lasses, I've just got to say, I don't actually believe this is real. I believe this is a smoke screen. Find out exactly in this video why, but yet again, it is still pretty alarming news if this is true, that Newcastle United tried to sell Gordon, but it was actually Liverpool who pulled out of this transfer. We've got other news that Newcastle United are trying to do a deal with Nottingham Forest for their Swedish winger, Anthony Elanga. Newcastle United want to do a deal, but local midfielder Elliot Anderson could go the other way. Elliot Anderson was also added in a deal for Wolves' Max Kilman, plus cash. That could also be the same sort of transfer here. Is it worth losing Elliot Anderson for another right winger? Yet again, Yankuba Minteh could be out of the club, and Miguel Almiron could also be leaving the club. So without further ado, lads and lasses, we'll take a look at both sets of news. Of course, more importantly, Anthony Gordon to Liverpool. What on earth's going on there? If you do enjoy the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new for all Newcastle United content, and of course, let me know down in the comments below what is going on here. Just let me know your thoughts on these situations, because it's pretty big news. Without further ado, let's get into it. Yeah, I don't really know where to start with this one, so let's just get straight into it. It's been reported by Craig Hope, like I said, as of this morning, that Newcastle United were ready to sell Anthony Gordon to Liverpool this week before talks were broken down. The reason the move actually broke down wasn't because Newcastle United didn't want to lose Anthony Gordon, it was because Newcastle wanted Liverpool centre-back Jarell Quansah. Liverpool didn't want to lose Quansah, hence why the Merseyside club did pull out. They would have proceeded with the deal if the package was different, something other than losing Jarell Quansah, but there is a chance that the talks could be revived over the weekend. Has someone actually lost their minds? We are talking about selling the likes of Anthony Gordon, Bruno Guimaraes and Alexander Isak before selling Callum Wilson, Miguel Almiron and Sean Longstaff. Honestly, look, if we're being real here, I believe this is a massive smokescreen to selling Yankuba Minteh. Now you might be thinking, well, why on earth would we be using Anthony Gordon as a smokescreen for Yankuba Minteh? It's been reported that Newcastle United need to sell £30 million worth of players to meet the financial fair play regulations. Now, of course, selling your likes of Isak to Chelsea, which was rumoured, of course, Anthony Gordon to Liverpool, which has been rumoured today, we would get more than £30 million for them. Obviously, we're talking upwards of £100 million there. We only need to sell £30 million worth. Of course, Yankuba Minteh looks to be getting £30 million for Newcastle United, whether that's from Everton, Brighton, Olympic Lyon, all of these clubs that are interested. Newcastle United fans are going to be thinking, well, look, Anthony Gordon could be going to Liverpool, Isak could be going to Chelsea, or we'll sell a guy who's never kicked a ball for us, and we'll still get this financial fair play freedom out of the way. Basically, the club are saying, who would you rather lose, Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak, or a guy who's never kicked a ball for Newcastle United? It's obviously the guy who's never kicked a ball for Newcastle United. The reason they are doing that is because we all know this guy has so much promise, and we don't really want to lose him, so the club are kind of saying, well, look, you're either going to lose your top players or you're going to lose this kid who's never played for you. Yet again, you're obviously losing that one, hence why you're thinking, right, okay, I'm not too bothered about him leaving now if we get to keep these two. It's kind of working out here, even on myself, although I know this is exactly what the club are doing. They are leaking these stories to kind of get us to nurture the departure of Yankuba Minteh, which, in my opinion, it is working, unfortunately, even though I know exactly what they are doing. Back onto that Anthony Gordon situation, though, I don't believe it really is true, although Anthony Gordon is a boyhood Liverpool fan, as you can see there. I don't think he would move to Liverpool. Of course, he would probably prefer a move to Liverpool later on in his career, but we all know how much he loves Newcastle United, living on Tyneside, being adored by the Newcastle fans, and of course, working under Eddie Howe, who's basically made him into the player that he is today, with of course, Anthony's own help with his meditation and all that sort of stuff. But let's just move away from that. Moral of the story, it's been reported. I don't necessarily believe it's true. We'll see what happens with that one, but if that actually is true. I'm not very happy with the club on that at all. Moving on to the Anthony Elanga situation, and we've got news in the same article by the Daily Mail that Newcastle United are in talks with Nottingham Forest over a potential deal with Swedish winger Anthony Elanga. However, the deal could see local midfielder Elliot Anderson go the opposite direction, of course, moving to Nottingham Forest. Now, this move could actually be beneficial for Newcastle United, but at the same time, Elliot Anderson is quite a liked midfielder amongst us Newcastle United fans. Anthony Elanga, though, he can play across the front three, and he is young. That's exactly what Eddie Howe said he wanted. To be more specific, last season, Anthony Elanga played 8 times on the left wing, 15 times on the right, and 4 times as a striker. Very versatile, but yet again, it's what Eddie Howe wants. Predominantly, though, as you can see by them statistics, Anthony Elanga is a right winger. Miggy Almiron potentially leaving. Yankuba Minter looks like he will be leaving. It looks like this guy could be a Newcastle United right winger. And I have got to say, I do like Anthony Elanga. He's not the top level, this sort of statement signing right winger. But at the same time, he's a very young player and a very direct winger. Absolute bags of pace, I've got to say. Would work very well in our system. He's not exactly, going to catch the eye. But at the same time, it might be a smart signing. And there will be question marks around, is it worth losing Elliot Anderson? As we know yet again, in my opinion especially, Elliot Anderson really stepped up his game last season. 2 seasons ago, this guy did not impress me whatsoever. He looked very out of place. He didn't know what he was doing in this Eddie Howe system. But last season, on the ball control, getting up and down the pitch, his strength, getting into tackles, using his body very well. I thought Elliot Anderson was very impressive last season. And of course, we know he can play on the left wing and the left-hand side of midfield, which is very useful. But so can Joe Linton. So can Joe Willock. So is there actually any use of having Elliot Anderson? Of course, he's a fantastic player and he will have a fantastic career if he builds on what he's got already. At just 21 years old, he could have a fantastic future, but we've already got Joe Linton there and Joe Willock. Elliot Anderson at this moment in time to have a great left-sided midfielder with no European extra games, by the way, it kind of is a little bit of a luxury. If worst comes to worst and, we can't buy a right winger, this move may be beneficial for Newcastle United. Yet again, I love Anthony Elanga to come to Newcastle United. I wouldn't exactly like to lose Elliot Anderson, but if worst came to worst and we had to chuck in some money or the other way, and Nottingham Forest started chucking some money, if we're being honest, I think we'd have to offer more money to Nottingham Forest than them chucking it the other way. I believe it could be beneficial for Newcastle, and I'd actually love to see Anthony Elanga come to Newcastle United. So there we have it, lads and lasses. Pretty weird news coming out today, and I didn't necessarily want to do a video on it because I didn't really think that the Anthony Gordon news were, that much credible. Don't get me wrong, the journalist Craig Hope does get some very, very good news. Mail Sport themselves as well, they actually do. Loads of injury news, loads of players coming in, etc. But I just don't believe this is true at all. I believe it is a smokescreen, so that's why I made today's video, to kind of get you aware. Without further ado, lads and lasses, hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and let me know down in the comments below, do you think this is real, or do you think, like myself, it's a bit of a smokescreen? Without further ado, I've been Geordie Josh. Go and enjoy your day, people.